About 6 months ago, Rickstextrix mentioned me in a video where he challenged himself to walk out of Insane Population LV. He figured out that the lower his FPS, the easier it was to avoid zombies to the point it got ridiculous, and asked me to investigate it. I then proceeded to completely forget about it, because that's what I do. A couple days ago, I got an email asking about the same bug, with a bit of a twist. Thank you for reminding me, random person. It's time to cover this. As you all know, walking directly into a group of zombies is a terrible idea. But you can do it if your frame rate is low enough. Luckily, Project Zomboid has a frame rate limiter that goes down to 24 FPS, which is convenient as it's just low enough to prove you can walk through zombies without them being able to attack you. Myth proved, and I didn't even have to go through the effort of limiting my frame rate via an external program. Yeah, this bug is completely broken. What if I bump it up to 30 FPS? Looks like walking is no longer safe. What if I apply the twist I was emailed? Obviously, speed has something to do with this issue. If you could speed yourself up by running, it'd work at higher frame rates. You can't though, because running has a chance to trip on zombies. However, there are ways to go faster than walking without running. If you carry too much weight, for example, you will do this power walking animation instead, and that does not trip on zombies. Let's test this theory at 30 FPS. It works. At 30 FPS, if you power walk, you can safely pass through groups of zombies. This isn't completely safe, but it's definitely a death-defying act. If you don't understand how this bug works, it's fairly simple. Once you clip into a zombie, which can be done by various means, you get pushed out away from it. I have a year-old video where I show off how to trigger this bug by using the startup of the sprinting animation. You can still do it on the current patch by gathering enough tightly packed zombies and running through the first one, even at 60 FPS. The lower your FPS, the easier it becomes to clip through a zombie by walking. I limited myself to 24 FPS because I do not want to show a PowerPoint presentation on YouTube, even if it's educational. If you rewatch the beginning of the video, when I'm showing Rick's footage, you can see he is not being pushed out of the zombies. Whatever system exists does not appear to function at that low of a frame rate. Sadly, this is a very easily and potentially unintentionally exploited issue with Zomboid, as it's the kind of game you can have 500 FPS zoomed in and mid-30s when zoomed out. That's without any zombies on the screen, and on an above average PC. The busier sections of LV run at even lower frame rates. Someone playing on an old laptop can average 30 FPS zoomed in. The majority of players could simply zoom out to exploit this issue. The good news is that the devs have now had multiple blogs showing off their performance optimizations for Build 42, which is the next major update for the game. A common example of the improvements is them averaging 300 FPS while zoomed out on their test PC. The improved lighting system looks really good as well. In the meantime, while we wait for the performance upgrades, do not fear unintentionally triggering this issue. It does require you to intentionally gather zombies and move a specific way to trigger. How often do you directly walk into a zombie expecting to phase through it? You might trigger it in a crowded doorway, but you're not going to do this by accident very often. Even then, you still occasionally die while doing it on purpose. It's not worth worrying about.